Hmm. You are at in-laws place, right?
Yeah, I'm in lot place. Yes, let's
Same.
go. It's on the. We are online now. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday session on environment and farm. Today, we'll be talking one of the very critical and probably a very hot topic right now on climate crisis, energy access, and women's empowerment. This is not something that one will hear every day, particularly when the topic gets engaged with a subject like women empowerment. So it's going to be a very interesting talk. Today, our speaker is from Assam, and he has done tremendous work in this sector. And let me introduce first Mr. Tridip Kumar Goswami. He works with the Sequest Capital LLC. Tridip comes with 17 years of work experience in the field of climate change and renewable energy, including hydrogen energy. His expertise uh, has been there with many firms, including his current firm, Sequest Capital, TUB earlier, TUB Rhineland, SGS India Private Limited, and all into their climate change business, respective vertical of the climate change business. As a climate mitigation expert in organizations like IT Power and Zenith Energy, he has contributed to assignments for almost all the big names that you can think of: United Nations Framework Conventions for Climate Change, which is popularly known as UNFCCC, Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, which is known as DEFRA, European Commission, popularly known as UE, World Bank, everybody knows, the Asian Development Bank, Foreign Commonwealth Office, the EC Netherlands, and in India, Ministry of Environment and Forest, including many other governments, which I don't think a person like Tridip needs more introduction than this. Back home in Assam, he's also connected with Bachat Lamp Yojana, a flagship program of Ministry of Power, along with Energy Efficient Lighting Program by Ministry of Railway, Government of India. This brought changes in the field of energy efficiency lighting in India, was developed under the leadership of Tridip. He was the team leader and was recognized by International Railway Organization, Paris, as the world's largest community-based greenhouse gas mitigation program. His Clean Cocoa program in Africa and Southeast Asia has brought changes in the health and energy usage in millions of rural households and has been highly appreciated by the African conglomerate. Recently, his work in the field of climate change and sustainability was recognized and awarded by the Carrot Award 2019 by Climate Action Reserve, a premier carbon offset energy from Los Angeles, USA. He's also a hydro energy researcher and was part of the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy team that successfully developed the first PEM fuel cell and 200-watt SP water electrolyzer project in the Central Electrochemical Research Institute, Tamil Nadu, India. By education, Tridip has an MSc Chemistry from Guwahati University and MTech Energy and Technology from the Tezpur University, an EDP certificate in the project management from XLRI, Jamshedpur. So Tridip, thank you so much. We are extremely happy that you could spare time, that you could give us some insight into what you do and the basic idea of Anajori to bring people, particularly who are from the Northeast, is to bring them into this platform. Probably those who don't know about the Anajori platform, let me introduce this platform as well. Anajori is a not-for-profit that engages and promotes various kinds of initiative and actively strives to promote social and environmental improvement, leadership building, and entrepreneurship for Assam in particular and Northeast in general. During the course of the last 1 year, we have organized over 75 webinars across themes such as education, environment, for which you are speaking today, arts and crafts, gender and sexuality, animal welfare, and community and public health. Enajori has been engaging through virtual media, particularly this COVID-19 pandemic, and inviting experts from both field of academia and grassroots to share and learn, and enlightens the youth participants from various fields who have been part of this network or even not part of the network but are interested in the general well-being and development of Northeast India. We are also trying proactively to connect, promote, support, inspire local individuals and groups working towards improving the quality of life of both humans and animals. As I said, we work on both health of human beings as well as health of animals and environment, so that Northeast can emerge as a future hub of opportunity in India and the world at large. It is actively trying to connect the dots that can make visible changes in the lives and environment of Northeast. I'm your host, Dr. Sanjay K. Gupta, who works on water sanitation and waste management and has very keen interest on anything that relates to environment. So Trideep, very welcome to the Enajori platform and today's webinar.
Thank you.
What I would request you to tell us or let us walk through your life little bit around your work and a little bit on what we can do for the development of the Northeast, what your key messages are. So the platform is yours, Trideep. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you so much. See how things like how small world this is. Like few months back, we just started talking, and then again suddenly we met in Guwahati and we were roaming in hills in Northeast again for walk only, and to meet you itself is a great to discuss with you, to meet you. It was a great experience for me, and the way you are working in this field, especially on waste management, need to learn a lot from you itself. And what should I say? Means when you were there, I should not talk too much about climate change and all, because I am mostly into mechanisms and standards. But then rather than keeping myself inside an office, I started loving my walk in field, and this is how. Let me tell you how I have come to this field basically. So I was doing MSc in chemistry in Guwahati University. So I loved basically wave mechanisms, wave theory, and then I started loving solid state physics. But then when I talked about solid state physics, at that time it led to just battery. So MSc in Guwahati or in Assam. So I'm basically from Nalbari in Assam. It's a small village called Samarkusi I belong to. And Guwahati itself is a big thing for us to come there and to learn something new. But when I was learning chemistry, that solid state physics, it was something fascinating for me. But then I came to know that it is nothing but battery, what I learned at that point of time. But when I started this MSc, almost about to complete MSc, then I felt like that, okay, other than battery also, there are a lot of other energy source. But whatever books we have, means or whatever we were taught in classroom, there other than battery, there was nothing. So I started trying to learn about hydrogen energy, because that was one thing I came to know that a lot of things have happened. When I was in class 8, that time Iraq war was happened. And I learned from somewhere that whatever unmanned vehicles they were running there, unmanned tank. So those were run by DMFC, direct methanol fuel cell. And later I came to know that the main issue of all this fuel cell, which is for common people, I'll be telling that fuel cell is the source of hydrogen energy. And I came to know that there are some Indians, like Professor A.K. Shukla from Indian Institute of Science. He was associated with NASA. And then there Mr. Subramaniam from Madras University, who was heading a NASA group. And he was leading that the unmanned vehicle group during the Iraq war. So I started learning about about hydrogen energy. But since I didn't have that much of knowledge, and solar things were there at that time, solar, wind, somehow I learned that, okay, there is a course in Tezpur University that is MTech in renewable energy basically. So I wrote my GATE and all and got admitted in MTech. So started learning few things. I came out to Tamil Nadu to do a research on hydrogen energy. Almost few years I did a good research. I was involved in fact, I was lucky to be involved in Government of India's first water electrolyzer program. And I was a part of that. But somehow, there are a lot of issues like to do a PhD or to because of background also you need to have a earning source also. So all these things we were thinking, and at the same time, now what I did is that I felt like my intention is to work for community. So hydrogen energy, what I learned in almost like 4.5 years research I did, and I felt that India was still at a nascent stage. And considering that I did my MSc and now MTech, after that, how much and the economic background of my family, so whether I'll be able to sustain myself in that research field. So considering all these things, I thought that okay, I should go ahead in a different field. I came out, and then CDM was part of that in 2004-5. So India has already signed that Kyoto Protocol, and they
And
were
maybe you
about to
can
come.
just explain what CDM is. It may not be obvious to everybody.
Okay. So CDM is known as Clean Development Mechanism that came under Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol is something that what happened, the policymakers as well as scientist community across the world. So they felt that okay, we need to control the climate crisis, especially the global warming. So 167 countries came together in a city called Kyoto in Japan, and based on what IPCC has done, has shown to the world that the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Based on that, they have come together in Q2 and they discussed that okay, we'll have to have some protocol under which these emission reductions can happen in across the world. And under that, there are some mechanisms. I'm just making it a short. The developing countries who will be developing their different kind of programs, including energy programs. Those will be supported by the developed countries, because developed countries at that point of time were emitting much more emissions to the atmosphere. So under Kyoto Protocol, they came under the obligation, and under compliance market they came, and they agreed to do technology transfer or financial help to different kind of projects which will be reducing emission reduction in developing countries. So that is the CDM. So I came to so under CDM was actually the regulator was United Nations, UNFCCC, United Nations Framework of Climate Convention, framework on Convention of Climate Change. So they what they did is that in every host country is that developing countries where the projects were about to be developed. So on those countries, they have come up with some regulation, and in India, under Ministry of Environment and Forest, they were coming up with designated national authority, DNA. So I was part of that DNA. So when we established the whole regulations and the framework in India, so I was part of that, the whole thing, and started working on CDM. But when I started working on CDM, I came to know that basically I was working for corporate sector. So because at that time, a lot of corporate sector came into solar energy, hydro energy, any other renewable energy. But I was not feeling good, because I was feeling like it is not helping the community. Ultimately, whatever climate change crisis is there, that is affecting the community, basically the marginalized section. So somewhere in between 2011, 12, when I was working with SGS, I was working on the UN side at that time. Basically, I was working as a lead auditor and product coordinator. I felt that okay, I'll have to work for community, and luckily, this CQS Capital, I got associated with. We developed one of the world's largest community-based program as far energy efficiency is concerned in India, and for which I got awarded from Paris International Railway Organization also. Me and my team, we have got special mention on that. And then I started working for community. And from 2012 onwards, there is no looking back. I am working in almost 17 African countries. Then Southeast Asia, for example, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, in almost like five, six South Asian countries. I'm working in India, Bangladesh, Nepal, and all. So this is my background, and since being from a village, I feel like that okay, it's better to work for community, and still that itself is going on. While doing that one, what I felt is that somehow I connect myself with the villagers, and when you talk about villagers, the culture and the backbone of a village, it is about our women. So, and what I can see is that whatever climate crisis is happening, the effect is mostly on women and children. So, on basically on that itself, what I feel is that clean energy access, if we can make the clean energy accessible to our communities, that itself will reduce the emission reduction in our atmosphere to a large extent. Uh, because till now, in 2019, there is a report from government of India. Even after giving LPG in 98% household across India, 44.2% people in 44.2% families in India still are cooking in firewood. And you know about firewood that okay, it may be a tripod, it may be open fire, and whatever the smoke comes out, it directly affects our women. So I am going to talk about on that also. This is my introduction, but yes, it was little bit hurriedly I had to come. So I don't know whether in my slide I'll be able to show all these aspect of women's empowerment or not, but I'll be able to show something on how it impacts our women. That I'll be.
Please. Kashmira, can you give him the screen share rights?
So language, I can use English only, right, Sanjay?
Both Assamese and English. Our audience is mostly from Assam.
Okay.
Yeah, feel comfortable with the mother tongue and both the foreign tongue if you wish to. Yeah.
Is it
Kashmira,
done? No.
have you given the screen share? Giti, is the screen share right given? Can you just open your?
I'm trying, but it is host disable participant screen sharing.
Yes. Kashmira, can you hear me? Hello, I can't hear anything from anybody. From the Anajari host team, can they give? She's trying. Probably the. Can you just illustrate why you want to be very specific on how the greenhouse gas emissions are very important for the women and how we can empower them to reduce climate change issues? Between till we get the screen sharing thing. You are muted, Trideep.
Yeah, I myself muted. Yeah. So, there are few greenhouse gases, like when we talk about greenhouse gases, there are six greenhouse gases. And out of that six, one we call it as like host. So that is water vapor. Next is carbon dioxide, you have methane, you have nitrous oxide, then ozone also considered as that greenhouse gas, and some artificial chemicals, you can say the CFCs, HFCs, those are fluorocarbon, those are also called greenhouse gases. Now, when we talk about how it is affecting us, see, CFCs and all those you will find in AC, in refrigerator and all. But the methane and carbon dioxide, especially carbon dioxide and nitrous oxide. So why women? Why I'm talking about women? Why how greenhouse gas is affecting mostly women? Is that overall across the world, almost like 3.2 billion of our population is still using firewood as the cooking device, it's cooking fuel. So when it is about firewood combustion, so basically you get carbon dioxide, you get sulfur, you get nitrous oxide. So sulfur is not a greenhouse gas, but as far as health is concerned, both carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide also comes out. Nitrous oxide and the carbon monoxide affects the lungs of our women folk, also also our children. So on that, so that is why we basically target that, okay, it's a marginalized section. And when you talk about marginalized section, women is the marginalized section. Basically, they are in most of the developing countries, they are not part of policy making. They are not part of, any issues, wherever you discuss something about development or not, women are especially not part. And this is that almost in every patriarchal society that happens. And all developing countries, societies are patriarchal basically. So our aim was, especially the organization where I work and the group with whom I interact, we are targeting that particular response. So when you, yeah, Sanjay?
You may like to check your screen sharing. Probably it is already done. So you can connect better with pictures, I guess.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah. We can see it's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it full actually, basically. Okay, so my topic will be climate change, clean energy access, and women empowerment. So, especially,
Maybe you can make it fully screen. If you just click on the, it's not working.
Somehow it is not, that option itself is not working. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Just click there where
Yes.
put it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in today's presentation, I'll talk something about little bit about climate crisis. So this is little bit technical. I'll skip most of these technical things. Then how women at the center of climate crisis. Then tackling climate change, what we can do. Gender perspective on energy access and challenges to energy access, and focus on Northeast. This is focus on Northeast. I have started some work in Northeast, so on that also I want to talk. So what is climate crisis basically? The climate crisis, if you talk about the term climate crisis, we will have to talk that it is nothing but the global surface temperature increase. So if we see the almost like pre-industrial era, 1880, and then 2012, when, as I was saying about Kyoto Protocol. So when it has started completed the first crediting period of Kyoto Protocol, till that time, the surface temperature has increased by almost like 85 degrees Celsius. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very clearly.
Sorry, some noise is coming, that's why. I don't know why it is coming. There are a lot of noise coming.
Everybody's on mute, including me.
I think it has gone. Okay. The root problem of this temperature increase is the increase in greenhouse gas emissions, which are being released into the atmosphere by different anthropogenic emissions and some natural emissions. The growing problem of changing environmental conditions caused by climate destabilization is well recognized as one of the defining issues of our time. Basically, what we have seen during pre-industrial era and what right now we are seeing. Earlier also there were climate change when the planet has started, the environment, when we talk about environment, when the earth is trying to stable itself, at that time also there were climate changes, but those climate changes were natural at that time. But right now what we can see is that so at that time also destabilizations were there in climate, but those destabilizations were there to have a atmosphere where people, human beings, flora, fauna, all were about to exist, to make them exist itself, that the stabilization was there. But now thing is happening in this way. Still, from the industrial era, from start of industrial era till now, the climate destabilization is happening, but this is now destroying the atmosphere, the one we have. So here I can show you something, how the evolution has happened. So if you see 1860, the global mean temperature was like, it is just above 0 degree in some this one. So it was actually cyclic curve earlier. I didn't show the cyclic curve here. But if you see the mean temperature, it is always increasing. The temperature is increasing. And if you talk about the report from IPCC, the fifth report from IPCC, so there the green color is showing that how temperature is still increasing even after bringing all these climate change mechanisms. This, if you see 2012, from there onwards, the trend is upwards basically. So other than that, I'll not talk too much. Only this graph you can see how the temperature is increasing. So this is about global greenhouse gas emission. This is a trend, means like how it was earlier in almost like in 1990 to 2020 or 2019 also. If you see the trend, the greenhouse gas, carbon dioxide is the major greenhouse gas, this one, which comes from basically the energy source. That's why I was talking about why we need to give importance on the energy access. Basically whatever energy we are accessing right now, one is that for electricity also, for cooking also. So major chunk of the greenhouse gases is carbon dioxide. But then you have methane also. Methane you are all across the world in this planet, you have in two form. One comes from methane, the energy, those are from what is called conventional energy, and then one is there in basically comes from waste. Sanjay knows it very well. But methane is also a major contributor to the global greenhouse emissions, because it is almost like 21 times higher than it has 21 times higher impact than the carbon dioxide. So you can see the trend. The greenhouse gas emission is increasing in almost in every year from 1990 to 2000. There is no way that someone is able to stop this. Okay, so in the current development scenario, if no reductions are taken in the net carbon dioxide emissions being released, the probability of limiting warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius remains bleak. Why 1.5 degrees Celsius? This is the IPCC, when they have come up with this protocol called Kyoto Protocol. That time they have decided that, okay, by 2012, first it was by 2012, Next, it was there 2020. The target was that to reduce the increase in temperature so that it doesn't go beyond 1.5 degrees Celsius. That's where they were, all countries were supposed to walk. So the situation is expected to be worsening in future. So if you see the trend, whatever I'm showing in 1960, you can see the trend, and you can go up to the, I have shown a extrapolation. This is again from IPCC only. So the trend is really bleak. Like seeing the trend, you can't really think about that. Okay, whatever we are doing is probably is helping the art itself. So the situation is really is going to be bad, considering what the scientist community has come up with, all these extrapolated data and all. So, and you will have to stop the urbanization and development. At today's point, if you want to talk about that, okay, I'll have to control it beyond below 1.5 degrees Celsius. Then what you need to do is that you will have to stop the urbanization and development in developing countries, which is impossible. Like in some part of your world, someone has developed, and you are just about to be develop yourself. At that time itself, someone can come, and you are not going to agree that okay, my energy consumption will be less, my trees, AC, all these CFCs I am using, that I am not going to use. That cannot be done. That is not going to do. Significant social, environmental, economic, and human health challenges are aligned with climate change. So how it basically, climate change impacts your social environment, it impacts the flora, fauna, it impacts the economic activities and earning, it also affects the human health challenges. If I need to little bit talk about this, how socially it impacts, basically how it has happened, that you see the human evolution was based on agriculture. So now when we talk about society, every society has, earlier it was an agrarian society. So from there they are developing themselves, and someone has become industrialized society. Someone is still, like India, we are still growing up to that one. So now when climate change is there, when temperature increases, so the problem is that you, whatever flora, fauna, whatever agriculture activities was happening, that affects. And when it affects, like for example, just let me give an example. There was a, let's talk about fishermen. So when we were child, we were able to see a fish in Assam that is called, I think, Indian glassy fish, and in Assamese it is called sanda mas. Boga, the boga mas is transparent. I can't glassy fish bully. Sometimes outside India they call it as Indian X-ray fish also, because when you see the fish, you can see the bones of the fish also. That was plenty earlier in every village, in every river, every pond. You were seeing those things, but now you don't see those. Like that, there are different flora, fauna. There are a lot of agriculture activities, lot of birds. Those are because of climate crisis, because of global increase in temperature. Those things you are not going to see. Now, if we talk about fishermen, for example, there are few fishes are you অসমীয়াত যিটো শোল মাছ বুলি কয় আজিকালি সাধাৰণতে নাপায়, ভালচাৰ যিটোক আমি শগুন বুলি কওঁ সেইটো নেদেখো। এতিয়া যিজন মাছমৰীয়াই কেইটামান মাছ স্পেচিফিক মাছ ধৰি এই কৰি আছিল, যে শোল মাছ আছিল, কাৱৈ মাছৰ সংখ্যা কমি গৈছে, গৰৈ মাছ আছিল, সেই অসমৰ কথাক লৈ মই কৈছো, সেইবিলাক নোহোৱা হৈ যোৱাৰ কাৰণে এতিয়া কি হৈছে, আপোনাৰ ইকনমিক এক্টিভিটি had to be changed. So fisheries have come up. There are different kind of fish you need to grow now, or the fisherman will have to go to a different activities. He may not go to the whatever his forefathers were doing just to earn money. He will have to do something else, and then the social change will happen, the economic change will happen. And already because of this, how these change have happened, because you have this environmental change, because your flora and fauna changing, it is not growing. Then human health challenge. Now when temperature increases, for example, today in Andhra Pradesh, or where I am right now in Kerala, or in Tamil Nadu, I think most of us were not hearing about that flood havoc. There were no floods in those countries. Now what you can see is that every summer you can see that Kerala has been devastated. Last year, before last year also the same thing. Andhra Pradesh has seen the same thing. So on that, when those things are coming, the temperature is increasing, human health is also being affected. And when you have like in your indoor air or outside the home, you have your air pollution is happening. People are suffering. These are because of that itself. I am talking about the human health challenges will also be there because of this climate crisis. What causing climate change? So basically, it is because of burning fossil fuels, cutting down rainforests, and farming livestock. So these are farming livestock. There is a question mark on that. But European or American, they say that okay, farming livestock is also an issue because methane emissions are more. Then fossil fuel burning, definitely. When you are, for example, in Indian electricity grid, you have 67% of electricity which comes from coal combustion. And 1 megawatt of electricity, if you want to generate from coal combustion, you are getting around 10,000 ton of carbon dioxide in your atmosphere. So that it is what we are calling is that burning fossil fuel also leads to climate change. This adds enormous amounts of greenhouse gases to those naturally occurring in the atmosphere. What I'm saying is that greenhouse gas you need basically, but then those are necessary. But what the greenhouse gas we have identified, the scientific community has identified, if the increase on those greenhouse gases are there, that changes climate. So what is greenhouse gas effect basically? The greenhouse gas effect is a natural process. It will have to be there. And whoever is associated with farming, they will be knowing what is greenhouse gas, greenhouse basically. So if greenhouse gas effect is something which keeps the Earth's temperature warm. So it whatever sun ray will be getting, it will not go the whole temperature will not go out of this atmosphere because you have a layer of what is called you have a strata, means like from out of that temperature will not go out. So these greenhouse gas include water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and all the CFCs. This process maintains basically this greenhouse, because of greenhouse gas effect, the temperature of Earth should be between 25 degree to 33 degree. So because of that temperature itself, whatever life we are seeing on Earth, it does exist. And in Mars or in some other areas like Venus or somewhere in some other planets, either they are very hot or either they are very cold. So because of that, you are not seeing lives there. But in Earth, we have that temperature has been maintained by this greenhouse gas effect. So the temperature is being maintained, and that is why life is there. But when these gases are more, for example, water vapor becomes more. So whatever minimum the other greenhouse gases should have been there, it will be that water vapor will capture those greenhouse gases, and the temperature with those greenhouse gases will be remaining in the Earth surface, and that will increase the temperature of the Earth. So here is effects of climate change. I am trying to give some, this is assessment report of IPCC. So it has shown, if you see, I have shown something. This is IPCC. This is not my graph. This is IPCC's graph. Here you can see that there are different regions I have identified: polar regions, North America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Central and South America, Australia. And there, what we observe impacts which actually has been attributed to climate change. So there are in red color, those are human and and the managed system, like whatever industry and all, those are coming under red. Then you have those biological system, flora, fauna, and all these water bodies and all. And then you have physical system. Physical system in the say glacier, snow, then river, lake, all coastal system and all. So you can see the impacts. Basically, if you go through this diagram, and what I am saying is that I'm showing some confidence level on that attribution to climate change. So if you see a single bar, for example, in small islands, this is in the left side of that diagram, This is in a biological system, how this the impact is low. Okay. Here, in that case itself, when you have human activities, like this is managed system, for example, a livelihood and all, when there is a small impact on your biological activity itself, there is an impact on your livelihood. Come back to North America, or you come to Africa, you have very small changes, very small impact of climate change in water bodies. This is where I'm saying it's a river or lake or whatever it may be. So this basically it causes flood and all. And now you see the red color these things. Here the impact is like everywhere you have impact, whether it is food production, whether other industry or health. So this much of small change in your uh, physical system itself is bringing this much of change. And if you see the green portion, that is biological system, very less impact on your for example forest. uh, you can see terrestrial ecosystem, we call it as. So in terrestrial system, there is a little impact. It's a medium impact, but you have seen impact on human health or whatever human is managing. So if the changes are more on biological and physical system, if the impacts are more, for example, very high, then how it affects here itself in Africa, you see, if we talk about uh, this is about rivers or lake, if there is, it's a huge impact, almost like high impact. And that is why Africa is seeing the most climate change impact. For example, in Asia also, the same thing you can see. So according to the IPCC, climate change can result in alteration of ecosystem, disruption of food production, water supply, damage to infrastructure and settlements. So for example, I'll give a live example in Zambia. Zambia or Zimbabwe or Malawi, those were one country earlier. And in 1965, they have got independence from Europeans, especially from British. But then till now, those people started being ruled by those Europeans itself. In 1965, once they left, people were thinking that everything will be fine. But you know, till 1965, they have lost a lot of flora fauna, including the black rhino from Malawi. And you won't find a lot of greeneries are still there, but then greeneries among human habitats, in between human habitats, you won't find. Now, what happened? Why this has happened? Because of these human activities. How? The Europeans basically, when they have colonized those countries, they got the labor almost free. They got the land almost free. So they are trying to maximize the inputs from those lands. So they use a lot of chemicals in those lands. And now today, when you see Zambia, today, if you are going to, since I am working on those communities, what I can see is that today, if I have gone to a community, for example, in Sipata is a city, from Sipata, if I am working on 100-kilometer distance, last year I went to a 100-kilometer distance village. There I can see that, okay, people are somehow living, they are having a livelihood there. Next year, you go to the same place, you won't find anything. You will find that it's a barren land. You know the reason? The reason is the rivers, basically, because of those much of chemicals people have used, because of change in temperature, because of flora and fauna, there is a change in habitats of flora and fauna. The land, they are unable to, you know, they can't absorb water properly. They don't have greeneries on those lands where human habitats are there. And so this year everything was fine. I can see that, okay, people are living there, they are having their livelihood. Next year, before I before I go next year, during rainy season, the rainwater, it will destroy those villages, those the living the people who were those habitats, they will destroy, they will make it another river, and those people will go to a different area. So this is why I was saying that, okay, yes.
Just we'll have 10 more minutes. We are already 8:47. So 13 more minutes left for you.
Oh my goodness. So okay.
Just
So
wanted to.
okay, no issue. So I'll just run through this. So effects of climate change, as I was saying that, okay, socially, economically, culturally, politically, institutionally, all are, it affects the marginalized section. Women at the center of climate crisis. So while environmental changes affect everyone due to existing gender equalities, as I was saying earlier, women often bear the bulk of the burden. In patriarchal societies, cultural, legal, and political restrictions often undermine women's adaptability and resilience to climate change. So how to tackle climate change? Access to clean energy as the core driver for mitigate climate change as well as ensuring sustainable development. That is what I was telling in the beginning of my talk. It is easy to see global energy transition as imperative for preventing devastating climate impacts. However, the energy transition will vary for different regions as well as different communities within these regions. In developing countries, the transition must emphasize on delivering new clean energy access to help people and local economies thrive. There are roughly 3 billion people who do not have access to clean cooking, as I was saying earlier, forcing them to rely on burning biomass, coal, or kerosene, thus exposing themselves and their families to dangerous fumes in the process. Meanwhile, approximately 1.1 billion people worldwide do not have electricity access. Millions more have limited access because of intermittent supply or unaffordable cost. So when I was actually, I don't know whether I'll have some time or not, both on these two aspects, clean cooking and lighting, on these both aspects, I am working in India and other parts of world also. And in Assam also, I am working in these two aspects. One is that energy efficient lighting, so that the energy consumption becomes less in those households where they can access energy, and thus whatever energy savings will be there, that can be provided to the households where they were unable to access clean energy, energy efficient lighting. So these are some sustainable development using SDG goals. We have like 17 different goals. So I'll not talk about this much, but what I can see is that there are trade-off and synergy. So I have shown some sets, different sets. So trade-off and synergies you can have, I could have shown you, but because of time, I'll not talk too much about this one. But whatever work we are doing, that there are SDG 3 who knows about that sustainable development goals, that good health and well-being, number 1. SDG 5 comes under gender equality, and then affordable and clean energy, SDG 7, and reduce inequalities. This is SDG 10. So when we work on these 4 SDGs, what we can see is that the topic to which I was talking, that energy access and women empowerment, that can be happen if we give much more importance on these SDGs. Benefits of gender perspective on energy access, women with energy access, what are the positives? So averted disability adjusted life years and reductions in premature deaths. If we talk about effect on health and poverty reduction from access of energy to the community's energy access, how the averted life, that means that in general term, the women's premature death can be, or children's premature death can be prevented. Avoided time spent gathering firewood and in cooking over pollution open fires measured in hours, save for women and girls. Building social capital in education and health, a prerequisite for women empowerment. This can be done through this women access to energy, clean energy, creating opportunities for new options for income generation and for enhancing existing ones, and then restore national forest. Whatever we can see, that we can talk a lot about this national forest restoration, but maybe at the next time we may be talking, or if possible, whenever we will have time. I have already started my work in Assam, and energies, if they're stakeholders, they can be part of our different pilot programs, or they may be part of our scale-up programs. They will be understanding why I'm talking about these 5 points. Then if we talk about effect on users and energy supply chain, Basically, appliances designed in collaboration with women have greater likelihood of being accepted and used by women. And that is why we have come up with a cook stove, improved cook stove, and that is specially designed by women in Assam, especially in upper Assam districts like Dibrugarh, Majuli, and in lower Assam district like Nalbari and Kokrajhar. Targeting women as a specific and distinct target group for energy services offers a way to expand the customer base. So equal employment opportunity in supply chain, which is currently male dominated. So greater outreach in terms of convincing end users to switch to energy efficient appliances. Then what are the challenges we get basically? So lack of commitment for implementing policies introduced by central and state governments. Everyone we talk about them, women's empowerment, energy access and all. But whatever right now also, if we see that whatever policies related to energies or rural developments are coming, there you don't have commitment basically. So those are actually AC room discussions. They will be keeping everything on paper, but when you go to the field, you won't find whatever commitment they make. You won't find 15% of. Why I'm saying this 15%, we have some report that whatever energy related policies are there, whatever commitment has been done till now, from 90s onwards till now, even 1975 also we have done a study, 15% commitment also has not been done by means have not been continued by government. The cost and benefits of different courses of action are generally not well known. No one knows actually how much, what are the what are the benefits. Means government comes with different policies, they do a lot of implementation work. There are a lot of private organizations who under government activities they do implementation work, but there is no way how to know, how we know the benefits and what are the costs involved. Means if there is undefined cost involved, people are implementing now without any thinking about cost, and at the same time no one is trying to know what are the benefits of those policies and all. Decisions affecting climate change are made at all levels of society. Women, who are usually the end users, are not part of decision making, although developing countries like India in its last one decade has seen policy intervention towards the rural energy access. There is Devajit Palit from TERI. He is working in a, and then I can see in Bihar there is a Jivika organization. They are working on rural energy of access. Hundred thousands of rural women are working for this kind of program. So there is little bit change going on, but we don't know till when everything will be online. So what are the benefits? Household benefits has access to relevant clean technology, improve living standards, less indoor air pollution, saves time and money, save time in not having to collect firewood daily. That is for clean energy cooking purpose. So clean energy solutions with focus on Northeast. So basically this is again I'm quoting Devajit Palit. So where he says that it is estimated that more than 70% of the total energy consumption in the region is in the domestic sector, and over 90% of the households use firewood as the only source of energy for cooking and space heating. Then he talks about the exposure to toxic smoke from traditional cook stove, and then how rural households largely depend on kerosene as a lighting fuel, but the poor conversion efficiency of the currently used kerosene devices results in poor quality lighting. This is from his research work itself. So what we do basically, how we have targeted, like as I was saying earlier, affordable and clean energy was my focus to work on Northeast and Eastern region. So all the Northeastern states of India have been categorized as aspirants, indicating that these states lag other location in terms of availability of clean and affordable energy. So before Ujala, we have done a research that 72% of our women population, especially our families, they were unable to have the clean energy access. And that in Northeast, I was giving a figure about 44.2% across India, where still people are using firewood. But compared to other parts of India, especially East and Northeast, you till now 64% of our women population still using firewood, and that is after 98% of LPG have been distributed in our households. So large proportion of rural population still relies on traditional methods of cooking and uses fuel wood for meeting their daily cooking needs. A case for clean cooking solution. So what we do, these are some figures why we have come up. 90% of households in Northeast depend on the burning woody fuels or in tree stone fires for cooking. 70% of these are the figures we have come up with GACC, and 70% of fuel would derive from forest, which leads to massive deforestation, and that is why we have human and animal conflict all across Assam and Northeast. Almost like 1 out of 8 deaths in 2017 was linked to air pollution, indoor air pollution. 40% of indoor pollution attributed to space heating. Means like, because not only in Assam, other parts of Northeast, their temperature is very less, and they will be whole day they will be using either coal or firewood for space heating. 30% of the bottom urban poor households income is spent on circle and firewood. 2 hours there is commonly time spent collecting fuel. Women and infants are disproportionately affected. So I'll leave this slide, then I'll go back to this slide, which we have come up with. CQC is my organization name. Dinabandhu is the stove we have come up with. It just looks like another stove, but inside there are some metal parts, and these have been already deployed in Assam, and we are going to go ahead with a scale-up program. So what we did is that whatever you can see the design itself, maybe a lot of people will be feeling that, okay, these are the same cook stove which we are using from our side there, but this is not like that. Inside there is some combustion chamber modification have been done, and then you have chimneys. So the efficiency of this specific Dinabandhu stove is 34%, whereas whatever tripod or open fire we do or our traditional stove, the efficiency is not more than 10%. So I am not going to show you the video now, but
we are just left with a few minutes.
Yeah.
Couple
Okay.
of minutes.
This is for efficient lighting solutions. So I was giving thrust on two things. One is that clean cooking, one is that lighting. So on lighting also, these are few numbers from Northeast of India, and based on that, these are the study we did before we started working on Northeast. So what we have done is that this is the, in fact, if you can see, this is, I am wearing that t-shirt where with this logo, this LED project we have started in Assam. Almost like 4,26,000 households in Assam have been covered till now. In Tripura, almost like 239,000 of households have been covered. Again, we are coming up with a 30 million energy efficient lighting program in Northeast, and it will be starting from September. So we are giving much more importance on that one. Why? Because we will be able to save already a deficit of 17.4% energy is there. And as I was saying, 70% of our energy uses in Northeast is in domestic households. But then also we don't have energy, you can't have energy access in villages. So if we can even remove this deficit of 17.4% by distributing this energy efficient lighting, and then we are hopeful that in Northeast we'll be able to do this. We will be able to bring clean energy to our rural households. So this is about. So I have some closing remark on women and clean energy access. I skipped a lot. One thing I can say is that maybe a lot of people are thinking that what you talk about, there was nothing about women empowerment. So I was about to give specific stress on how these programs like clean cooking and this energy efficient lighting will give women empowerment. Basically, we hire almost like till now we have like 150 of women who are working for us in Northeast, and when we'll have a 30 million LED program, we are looking for another almost like 500 women who will be working for us. And then we have some value addition program with those like education, because we have education, then sports. We bring all those things into our flagship programs. If it is clean energy cooking, so as I was saying, we have designed a stove which our women folks only, and then to work in villages, we again have trained our women who will be able to work on building those cook stoves. So they economically it will be beneficial for them. And the less time in cooking, when it needs less time in cooking and to collect firewood, people will be able to, the woman will be able to save a lot of time. Their girl will be able to save a lot of time, and those girls will be able to go to schools and all. I'll talk later on, but these are my remarks on women and clean energy access. Women's access to clean energy would help them in reducing the time and hardship they spend doing drudgery tasks. It is proved and also expected that this freed up time leads to income generating activities, which empowers women not only economically but also socially. The issue of access to energy and realized benefits of access are not only or even mainly a question of technology, but policies, process of implementation, and organization of supply and end users' needs, social positions, and aspirations. So all these aspects we need to consider. It is proven that clean energy access is linked with better chances of girls to complete at least primary education and women to earn better wages, while it also contributes to a reduction in gender-based violence. So these are proven. These are not simply some statement. These have come from some research with GSEC. Empowering women through the access of clean energy has another crucial benefit, that is to expand the distribution and thereby making them the frontline warriors against the ill effect of climate change. So I'll be happy to discuss anything, but I'm sorry I took a lot of time. I don't know whether this is going to help the stakeholders of energy, but one thing I can assure you, whenever I'll be working in because of COVID, I'm not right now in Assam, but we are about to start our clean cooking program from June first week, and latest by September first week we are about to start our LED energy efficiency program lighting. So I'll be able to contribute to the goal of energy also, and maybe some the ladies and girls, they will be able to be in touch with us, and they can experience how women empowerment happen with these programs, and how these programs reduces global the crisis that is called climate crisis. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Trideep. This is fascinating, I must say. I wish we had a longer session to understand a lot of cliches that you said and which you could have probably illustrated, but unfortunately we didn't have time. But still very, very fascinating. And I can quite agree with you working in this sector on the gender-based violence one, and the second one on how they productively use time which is saved by collecting fuel. We saw the similar things in water sanitation. For example, the India's world's biggest toilet program has led to decrease in violence against women when they used to go for open defecation. So there is clearly a link between similarly what you were saying in reducing gender-based violence by providing these services. The same thing is that the time that you save is more productive at home, both in case of socialization as well as in case of health, and also a lot of income generating activities. So thank you so much, Trideep. We have run out of time. I'll ask just two questions and a comment. And please take it positively. I don't intend to question the data. When you were talking about such large number of, or such large percentage, 90% of the people not having access to fuel, were you talking about, or using conventional fuel, were you talking about agrarian economy or rural areas, or does it mean both rural and urban? Because 90% is...
it is about rural economy. I was talking about, no, I am not talking about 90%. If you see the figure, just let me see. Just in fact, I was associated with these numbers. 90% of households in Northeast depend on burning woody fuels.
Yeah,
they get woody fuel. When I was saying about clean energy, we talk about now clean energy either solar or LPG. So we have a figure that 72% of our energy, our population earlier in rural area, they were not using any kind of clean energy. So, and what we thought is that after LPG distribution by government's Ujjwala scheme, that this value will drastically come down. But what we have seen is that now 2019 November itself, National Statistical Organization NSO, they have done the survey and they came to know that 72% has come down to 44.4%. Like till now, 44.4% of our rural households are unable to have access to the clean energy. There are a lot of reasons I can discuss definitely with you.
Yeah. No, this is a good enough clarification.
Yeah.
The second question, and to be very specific, you have already in your conclusion, you said that from September onwards, you'll be looking to work in Northeast, particularly on the LED.
Right.
What other schemes do you have specifically for Assam, and where Anajori as a platform, there are various NGOs that are associated on this platform. There are various very, very good-hearted individuals who are associated with it, and they want to genuinely contribute. Some of them have returned from very lucrative jobs from abroad and now contributing actively in this year, and some of them have refused to go. So there is a passion among youth of Assam who are associated on this platform and would like to contribute. What would be your message to them? How can we engage them productively for making energy access, clean energy access, and also I'm not talking just about fuel, but also lighting.
Right. So, Sanjana, I'll give about a little bit my experience itself. So, whenever I was working outside, I thought that I love to walk in Northeast because from there where I belong, that where my root is. The first I'll talk about a problem. The problem with walking in Assam and Northeast is our own, we ourselves, the society itself. Somehow I should not talk that openly in this forum, but we have a really bad means whenever investor comes to Northeast, they do risk analysis. Those numbers I should not say, but what I learned is that for last so many years, that investor they don't want to really invest in Northeast of India, Eastern India and Northeast of India. Now after that also, few people like me, I am working in Northeast, although not. I can't show myself in this way that, okay, you know, the way in Assam people work, so most of those people work that little bit work, but then too much of talk, but then in ground there will be really nothing. I'm very frank in this one, please don't mind. But what I can see is that, so what has happened is that we are getting a lot of difficulties. There will be organizations just start some work, someone will come and they will just destroy those work. Then destroy in the sense there are different ways. They will try to stop your work. Everything is easy money and all these things comes. They don't know, they don't understand about this women's empowerment. They don't understand about rural development. Now the strata which you are talking about, you have come back from outside. I also want to come back and work there. But you know, we are dependent on some people, that investors. And when you see that, okay, for example, a real example I am giving you, that clean energy access, under clean energy access program, we have a program called Transformation Carbon. Under this Transformation Carbon, we came up with a German investor. They were about to invest for 1 million of cook stove in North India and especially in Northeast. So we designed this Dinabandhu stove, and we had some other 3-4 stove, like one from Kenya we got, that is Kuniokwa. So in 2017, we were about to come up with this program. We have started pilot from Kokrajhar to Golaghat to Nagaon, Jorhat, Majuli, Dibrugarh, everywhere, and we were upbeat that we'll be doing something there. You know, first initially we got some we targeted tea garden areas. Their politics are so bad inside the student unions, the politicians, the management. Everyone they come and they means politics, nothing more than that. So we came out, we thought that, okay, among the common people we will be doing, because tea gardens that has become a ghetto. Once we'll be able to show somewhere that, okay, we are working nicely in other areas, we'll be able to replicate those things in tea gardens. We came out there. Now you see, when we were about to start this program, we have some I am saying that okay, these hesitations have CA hesitations. So on that, on last year, our almost like 9 to 10 people were like in Majuli, Dibrugarh. I was inside a for almost like 5 days. I was inside an agriculture ground without having proper food and all. So people there really don't want to come. But then also, what I see the silver lining is that our people are simple people. We will have to talk to them for their development. We will have to engage them. So the people who we do, about whom you are saying that we'll have to continue. We'll have to make those changes. If we simply will leave it, then it will be left alone, and then you will have no one in Assam that okay they will be able to continue something. We have come out. You have done something. I have done something. Whatever possible way, if we will able to contribute, and to contribute, you'll have to engage with people. Means you will have to ignore a lot of other difficulties. But my feeling is that we'll have to continue engaging with our community, with our women folks, with our young generation, and then we'll be able to definitely work on those schemes. The schemes which I was talking about is that first we have got this clean cooking, this one LED distribution one. So on that we are successful. We know that we'll be able to do whatever barriers we had. We have overcome those, and that is my experience. That other than means you political class will stop you. That the small few students union who doesn't know anything about technology and all, they will stop you. Some vested interest will stop you. But if you continue, which I was doing, even after losing a lot of assets from company, I was continuing, and then today I am successful in clean energy cooking, in cooking, and also in LED lighting. So that is my message. Means like you will have to engage with people. There is no other way.
One experience where you can tell us that how to engage with the government, because I believe there is a huge governance deficit. It is the lack of governance or the deficit in governance that has led to all these problems that you enumerated. One
Right.
Experience that we can deal better with the government or the bureaucracy.
Sanjay, when I talk about politics, trust me, in Northeast governments, if you talk about development, if you talk about this kind of things, so when I see that there are no governance basically. Renewable energy, the people are, so that's why I was saying about politicians. Politicians means those are governments. So government, we are unlucky that we should have seen government as an institution rather than we are seeing that a part of politics. So what I can see is that they don't come down to the field. They don't come out to help you. So one thing I have seen, I'll be unable to tell you that how it works in Northeast or in India. But what I can see is that especially in Northeast, whenever we have seen success, at that time government has come. They have come and they were trying to support us. But in the meantime, whatever support we were in need, we established ourselves in this way that okay, we didn't need government's help. But what I can see is that if I can show these two programs that okay, we are successful in this one. For any other programs, like at least considering this legacy, we can show to government that okay, we have this legacy and we have these are the other clean energy or rural development prospects in Northeast. And if they are ready to help, then definitely we can go ahead. But as of now, I'm sorry, I'm not much more dependent on government.
That's good to know. If a lot of work can be done without the government institutions, it will be much faster, more efficient, and probably more sustainable. I'm sorry, I won't allow the questions because we are already run out of time. But Triv, thank you so much. A very heartfelt thank you to you for sparing your time and giving us such a fascinating presentations. What I'm going to do is to probably connect you with a couple of more people who are interested in the subject and see how they can be better engaged. It is going to take some time. It's not going to happen because everybody seems to be extremely terrified of the COVID-19, and it is real. It is affecting people. So thank you so much. You are one more dot who is now connected to Enazuri, and we are extremely happy about it.
Thank you, Sanjay.
And thank you so much.
Wish everyone in Enazuri a blessed stay in this pandemic time and to see success in their endeavors.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much. This is your host, Dr. Sanjay K. Gupta, signing off on today's session. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Team Manajori, for coordinating the entire session. Thank you so much, Kashmira and Geeti and Rashid. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.